And we're here. All right. Welcome everybody. If it's Wednesday, it's Warhammer. Welcome to another weekly edition of Warhammer Weekly. See how that works? I'm your host, Vincent Venturella. Joining me, as always, is my friend and co-host, Danny Pooty. Say hi, Tom.
Evening, everybody.
Joining us also is the one, the only, the Lone Hammer, the Demonic Orchard, Randy. How you doing, Randy?
How's it going? Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely, sir. We are very glad to have you on. All right. Well, I don't see any reason to wait around. Let's jump right into some news and some, just some rumors and things like that. Randy, the first thing I wanted to comment is I was watching. I watched Paul Kunert's wrap up, and when he was going for the recent tournament he went through. And I noticed that his game 2, when I watched it originally, I noticed he was playing some Skaven, and they gave him a little bit of a tough time. Kind of gave him the ogre's got a little bit of the Skaven beatdown, which is what you'd expect. And only then, at the wrap-up, did I learn who was at the instrument of that Ratman beatdown. Good friend of yours.
Was it Naren or was it Skaven and AZ?
No, it was Mark Cox.
Oh, Mark Cox. Yes,
the biggest Cox in Texas apparently was instrumental in that beatdown.
Yeah, Mark is a dude. They're wicked with their Skaven. Him and Jeff both play Skaven, and as somebody that's been playing for a little over a year now, I have gotten my fair share of beatdowns at the hand of Skaven shenanigans, if you will. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good game. Really displayed the multi-wound capability, the ability for Skaven to just remove models, and why ogres are always a rough matchup.
Oh yeah. It's funny that you said it because we did the West Coast GT wrap up, and if I were paying attention, like a good host of a show would have been, instead of drinking beer and surfing the internet while they were talking, I would have heard all these things, and I would have been able to jump on this. Now I'm gonna have to go check this out. Paul, I empathize with you. I've been on the other side of a Mark Cox shenanigans where he just whips it out and throws it. But hopefully you got drunk with him because he is a drinker, boy.
I think that was the same weekend that Paul was like so sick he was dying when he threw up that picture of him like looking like the girl who was talking about why people are being mean to Britney, like between the pillow and stuff. So I think maybe Mark poisoned him. Like I think that was actually the Skaven plan right from the beginning.
That's how Mark and Jeff win so much. That's how they get all their best sports votes. They poison people, and then they're handy with aspirin and other Pepto-Bismol remedies. So they're quick to help you get over this hangover that they've caused, making you like them, but really they've started the whole thing.
So basically their plan is the bad guy's plan in the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
That is the plan. That is the plan for them.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. Other sort of news and rumors from around the Warhammer world. I'll tell you, the rumors have been light lately, but there's a couple things of note. Tom, do you wanna grab some of the newest stuff that's come out?
No. Go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. I'll take it. You can comment. First things first. We know that our second date here this Friday, nothing is going on pre-order for Fantasy. It was confirmed to be the new actual Games Workshop Knight Titan kit, multi-part kit, as opposed to Forge World. So for 40K people, you can have your big giant Knight Titan things, and you can do for a second it got me excited because it sounds like a Bretonnian release. You've got like the Paladin and the Crusader, the Knight Crusader, the Knight Paladin, the Knight, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah. No, it's just giant robots. Cool looking giant robots, admittedly, but don't care. But yeah. So that's a shame, and gives us another week of 40K releases, which makes me wonder, when will we see our next Fantasy release? I don't think we've seen a period of so little information being released. I said this last week, I'll say it again, I'll keep saying it until we get something. Of so little information being released since pre-Nagash. Like, ways pre-Nagash.
Did we talk last week about the confirmation that it looks like the rules booklet in the army pack is like a pamphlet, not an actual full rules booklet? Did we talk about that?
No, but I think that's worth mentioning. So obviously there's been this rumored skirmish box set something, humans against chaos. We don't know what it is. Is it ninth, pre-ninth, 8-5, just 8th, an end times thing. Who knows? But what we got about the rules was go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, that it's just like I think Harry had made a comment. Who's fairly reliable, rumors-wise, that it's no more than a light booklet, and so likely so rules-wise, it's not a full game. And so what's been talked about is that potentially what we're looking at is actually another like GW board game, set in the end times. So something like the Assassin's game that was just released, or something like that, fantasy related. So it would be a self-contained kind of game.
At the same time, given the number of figs that they said were in it, which, it wasn't a full army, but it's a small force, 10 of these guys, 10 of these guys, 5 of these guys, a monster, whatever. That tells me I'm not playing on like a 2-foot by 2-foot board or something like that, like a traditional board game, right? This has got to be something bigger. And I think it'd be awesome if you like open this big 2x1 box, like an old school sort of D&D box set, and just folded out this massive like 4x4 or 4x6 board you could play on. The easiest building your game boards would never be easier. That alone might make the investment worth it.
No, I mean I think what we're going to see is I actually think it will be a 2x2 foot, because we were only talking about maybe 15 miniatures total, or 20 miniatures. It wasn't actually as much as you're suggesting on each side, which I think a 2x2 foot board is reasonable for something like that.
20 miniatures per side plus a monster and a piece of artillery. You're gonna lay in that. So like round one, you charge.
On a 2-foot by 2-foot board, I mean, if you're setting up, maybe. I mean, again, if this is a board game style, yeah, sure.
Sure. It could be other things going on, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Well, hopefully maybe that's still our June thing, so we get some kind of release. Another interesting rumor about the date for 9th, July 11th is looking more and more like the hard release date. And here was the most recent piece of information that gave confirmation for that, was that there was T-shirts ordered that were supposed to show up to the stores, to the Games Workshop stores, for that July time frame. And they pointed back to in the past they've done special T-shirts for new edition releases in both 40K and Fantasy. So that's right, folks. We're down to monitoring T-shirt orders to try to predict the release dates. That's the tea leaves we're reading in here. So, yeah, there you go. Time will tell what happens in the next few weeks. So, Randy, what's your feeling on 9th? I've been asking this of a lot of the guests lately. I want to get your opinion. Soon as possible, stave it off as long as possible, somewhere in the middle. What's your take on it?
If it comes out sooner the better. I am a huge proponent of Mordheim. I love Mordheim. I love Necromunda. Okay, I loved it. So if 9th is what the rumors are saying, and you're going to give us, I don't play 40K mainly because of the player base. The player base and competitive 40K isn't that's not my speed. Okay, I don't see people getting shit-faced. I like to get shit-faced or poop-faced, whatever. I don't know, family shows. I like to drink while I'm gaming. They don't seem to do that. But I love the system they have, which is kill teams, a regular game, and then they have this APOC game. In our gaming club, we have 40K players in it in just different areas. If Fantasy gives me the Mordheim equivalent, gives me what I play now, or changes some rules up, whatever, it's fine, and gives me the Nagash, Malekith, big games that I won't actually ever play, I'm good with that. You're covering my range. I'm totally comfortable with all of that. But if it's some wonky weird thing, and if 9th edition is just Mordheim, then I'm marking out as the first customer, because that's my favorite game of all time that they've ever done is Necromunda and Mordheim. I would play that all the time, all day, every day. So I love the little skirmish games. I don't think it'll be 2x2 though. I think it'll be 4x4 if they do come out with a game. I've never seen a gaming system. I want to say I'm hoping the Games Workshop goes back to the Games Workshop when I was a kid, and the Rogue Trader days when it was 4x4 tables and Gorka Morkas and the Mordheims. Those were the games that were huge, and Warhammer was just kind of we'll play a little Warhammer if we're not Necromundaing it up and Mordheiming it up. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Let me jump in. Two things real quick. When I made the comment about the 2x2, I don't think that ninth edition will be 2x2. But that was under the assumption that what we actually have in the board games is as a standalone game, which is on a 2x2 format, which would have action from turn one with people charging. That said, let me just encourage you and say that I think that there's another piece of data that we didn't talk about at all that could potentially point in this direction. We don't know. But like 2 weeks ago, we had a case release.
Sure.
For GW, and did you see what the names of the cases were?
No,
I did not catch the actual names. No.
Yeah. The smallest case version is the skirmish figure case. The tier 2 case is the battle figure case, and the tier 3 is the crusade figure case.
Okay.
And that would actually line up fairly well with the three types of games that we're seeing beginning to evolve: a skirmish game, a mid-sized battle game, and then a large, ginormous game that nobody ever plays.
Like a super epic apocalypse style 40K game.
Or a Grand Army Nagash, Malekith, just ridiculous size battles.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Like, what I want, I think, Randy, I'm in the same camp as you. I just want the full range of experience, right? I want to be able to roll more time, level up some heroes, watch some people get legs hacked off and heads chopped off and dead and drunk in a pitiful, awful alley where they slowly rot away by the inevitable death and destruction of the city of the damned. And then I also want to be able to put, big bricks of infantry on the table and all that kind of stuff and push it forward and smash face and have a good time. So if I can do both of those things in one game, I'm gonna call that an absolute win. Yeah, I'm right in line behind you. That's what I'll say for sure.
Yeah, I mean, the doom and gloom thing of what's Warhammer going to be. I think everything's knee jerk. I listen to my share podcasts. I listen to a little bit of YouTubers still when I'm not working. But when people get down on it, it's kind of like it hasn't come out yet. Kind of relax and let it breathe. Even the round base thing, even if the skirmish version of, skirmish is round bases, I'm even cool with that, just because round bases, it plays well in a skirmish environment. It plays well, i.e., look at War Machine and Warhammered. Look at their game. It's a great game. It's a game that you can play. It's all round bases. Everything is very, very easy to read for a skirmish style. Now, I don't want to do round bases with the big armies. I don't think they will. I don't think I don't think they're that crazy. So I'm in the camp of I'm just waiting for it to change so I can see what the new tournaments are going to be like. So when I travel and people absolutely destroy me, I know what the rules are at least. That's always the fun part.
I like it. Whoa, well, people destroy you. I don't know about that. Look, you've got the power of Slanesh on your side, so I don't know what you're worried about.
Had the power. That army is on the shelf, my friend. It is on the shelf. The new army. I will actually do battle reports soon again with the new army. I've been painting it up for the last 2 weeks, every single night. It's going to I'm taking it to Paul's Carnival of Chaos in New Orleans. I am rusting out the WOG. The orcs and goblins they're coming out, man, and it is a brutal, brutal adjustment from pushing it forward and shoving it down people's throats to please, 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 please spit on your hand before you give it to me. That is what I'm going through. That's the adjustment period right now. It's, man, brutal.
Nice. Well, that segues perfectly into our next segment, which was hobby time. And I was going to ask you what's on your desk, and obviously the answer is a whole lot of goblins. Now, I heard your challenge during your most recent podcast. You had threatened to come up to the Northeast and kick the shit out of people using only goblins. So are you working mainly on goblins, or do you got some big orc blocks going too? What's your ideal army looking like?
So I have, because this is what I love about the new edition, right? This is the best thing of it, is eBay right now. And I basically purchased, I might have 5,000 or 6,000 points worth of orcs and goblins that I got for $500. And so it's all on my table. Every day I pick up something different and I go, okay, we'll try this. And so I had 100 night goblins on my table with spears. And then I had 100 night goblins with bows on my table. And now I have 40 savage orcs with two-handed weapons. I just finished my first Mangler Squid. I have 5 pump wagons I'm working on. I don't know why 5, but I don't need 5. Um, I have 4 Doom Divers I'll never use, but I'm painting all of them because why not? So basically, I pick something up and I don't have attention deficit disorder when it comes to painting. But yes, I'm going to come up to the Northeast and I'm going to go to crap. I forgot the name of it already. Oh, I'm such a bad freaking Warhammer player. But it's in February.
Was it Onslaught?
Onslaught. I'm going to Onslaught. And I'm going to go up there and I'm going to take some gobos. I might just take regular goblins with some goblin assassins and just I'm gonna blow people's minds out, man. They're not gonna know what hit them. It's gonna be epic.
Get a lot of little sneaky stabbing on. Got it. All right, I like it. I like it. Very good. And there's never enough snarling pump wagons. Let me also say that. Like, I mean, I don't know what too many snarling pump wagons mean. Look, we live in an age of Archeon, and I don't think if you show up to somebody and go, look, I want to go kind of unbound and have extra snarling pump wagons for this fun game real quick. Is it okay if I bring 5 snarling pump wagons? I really don't think most people in your friendly game are going to be like, get that filth out of here.
Get that filthy crap out of here. What pump? And then I'm gonna look at you and go, what do pump wagons do again? I'm sorry, they do. How far do they go? What do they do?
Well, they go, the way I tooled them up, they go 46 inches and skip intervening terrain and hit you for 2d6 strength 5 impact hits. So, here it comes.
Here it comes. Here it comes. But I just rolled Snake Eyes, so it just went out of control. Who knows what's going to happen? And go.
Exactly. Yes, playing the O's and G's has a lot of the same fun and incentive of playing the Skaven in that you never know what you're going to get. And that's what's good about it.
Yeah, the demons are... Demons were fun for a little while. The Slanesh, but I'm kind of over Swedish comp, and so I just want to move on. And besides the fact that when you're drinking and you have to read the Reign of Chaos table, it just doesn't. It's just a pain in the ass, man. They're like what is 5? Honestly, I know 4 is bad for me. 5 is bad for you. 6, but I don't know which bad it is. And then people look at you and they hate you, and you have to buy them a beer to smooth it over. You know, my wallet cannot afford the Reign of Chaos table at the bar, so.
Now, can you drunkenly remember animosity and the results of that? So, I mean, you know, are you, like, just looking for the 1 as you're sort of, you know, drunkenly, hazily staring at the board and rolling a dice at each unit?
It's funny that you bring that up because people will let you forget about the Reign of Chaos table, right? They will let you roll the dice and you start your magic phase like, oh, dude, I forgot the Reign of Chaos. Like, oh, we're past that, man. Like, sorry, bro. But the animosity, your opponent looks at you and goes, before you do anything, animosity, stupidity, don't you have all that stuff going on? And so...
Right. Now, you could be at the end of the shooting phase, and they're going to be like, hey, you didn't do your animosity this turn. Back it up.
Hey, did you remember? Oh, man, I forgot. You might want to do that really quick. What do you think? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I probably should do that. And lo and behold, there will be that 1. But I've been getting some coaching from one Julian Lesage, the dirty Frenchman in Texas, and he has been changing my army list constantly because I make them too friendly. So he has somehow got rid of animosity in my army. It's epic.
Yep. I run with. I'm generally rolling on one block for animosity, maybe 2 blocks total, and so that whole problem just disappears from the army.
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
All
right, good stuff. Tommy, what's on your table?
A whole lot of nothing right now. So I'm at the end of my semester with my PhD work, and so I research and school and bad stuff. So I'm not working on anything right now.
That seems like a crappy-ass excuse to me. I feel like you could probably get something on there. Let's get something on that table, man.
Did I mention I'm sick right now as well?
I have 100 goblins I could send your way, bro.
Right, exactly. Don't you have 100 goblins of your own and like 700 high elves? Like, let's get some of these guys painted.
Yeah, I have about 10,000 points of high elves that need painted.
Sure. So what's on my table is I just finished this up today. Speaking of Slanesh, this will be thrown up on the PMP later. This is my unit filler for my Daemonettes to get them up to like when I want to run blocks of 50. This will also be for the Blood and Gore challenge this weekend. It'll come out better in that thing. Yeah, just a big, ridiculous unit filler on a chariot base. combination of Cauldron of Blood pieces and stuff like that. And having finished that before the show, it's time to move on to scratch building my own little Nagash. That's what I'm working on right now. He's going to be riding on Spirit Hosts off the Mortis engine. We got a lot of plans for him. My desk is just a mess of bits. So
you're a brave man, sir. A brave man.
I want to have a Nagash, but I don't know how often I'd play him. But I also don't see why that's relevant. Like, come on, he's whatever. He's Nagash. I'll put him. I'll build him. I'll finish him, and I'll have Cetra just pointing at him, watching him, just being like, "Hey, you remember, buddy? You know what's going on."
Sit there and take it.
That's right. All right. So, hobby time. Sounds good. I'll be interested to see some battle reports with the new goblins there, Randy. That should be very fun.
We'll see if I can keep it together.
I'll be watching with interest.
Yeah, two things either happen with all my games. Either I run off the table by turn 3, or my opponent is gone by turn 3. There's usually not much in the means of anything else going on. So I'm still tweaking it. I want to get more painted before I start taking battle reports, because it just doesn't look good when you have like a primed army and people ask like, where are the demons at? No, they're in a closet. They've been bad. They need to sit down.
Don't worry. The love of Slaanesh, like all things, is it's cyclical. She will come to you in your dreams, and you will get the urge to feel to smell the soporific musk once again. You can't stay away from it forever.
Slaanesh is male, for the record.
No, she is not.
No,
she is whatever aspect you choose to believe she is.
When I get sick of losing with the orcs, I'll bust out the demons again and play some filth.
As a slight aside, I played a Slaanesh army this last weekend I played my demons, and this will segue into our next section. I had a Keeper of Secrets and a Demon Princess of Slaanesh and a Soul Grinder of Slaanesh, because it's mono Slaanesh. And we lost. It was a 2-on-2 match, and one of my opponents was an Empire player with artillery galore. And on the end, like the stupid lightning bolt gun chariot thing, not the
Hurricanum?
That one, the Luminarch, I guess. The Luminarch's the one that can shoot the laser beam. And at the top of one, he went, and by the end of one, I had no more Keeper, no more Demon Princess, and no more Soul Grinder. He had between 2 cannons, 2 steam tanks, and that dumb laser beam that got total powered. He removed all 3 of them. Not a single word save was made. It was just bang, bang, bang. 1,300 points off the table, top of one. That was a fun game.
Did you not hide your Keeper behind the Soul Grinder?
No, just because it's the table we're playing on. Like, because we had 2 people, we had no buildings on our side. Terrain gets fairly limited. I had my Keeper behind Fiends in hopes that they could catch the cannonball, right? Just the way the table worked out, I had to shove the Soul Grinder in one place and the Keeper in another. I was able to screen her with Fiends, but I couldn't fit the Soul Grinder in there with what was going on. Mm. And the Demon Princess, I should have just shoved off somewhere else. My placement on her was stupid. So, whatever. Cannons are fun. Let me just say this, though. The game ended in a draw. So they may have got 1,300 points out of us top of one, but at the end of the game, it was basically 10-10. We were within 30 points of each other on 5,000 points of army on the table. So I'd say that's a pretty good comeback. All right, so let's move into our segment, which is, our segment this week is Haters Gonna Hate. As we all know, oftentimes the Warhammer community can be, shall we say, perhaps less than positive. Though we would all love to be swimming in a sea of rainbows and unicorns, and feel nothing but the positive rays of warmth and encouragement upon us at all times, sadly, it is not always the case. And some armies seem to be hated a little more than others. And so over the Haters Gonna Hate segment, we'll talk about some of those and why we think they're hated and whether or not that hate is actually deserved. I would also like to call out that I put no less than 4 Taylor Swift song references into the Warhammer YouTubers post for this today. Because of the Haters Gonna Hate, and not a single person called me on it. So clearly we don't have a lot of Taylor Swift fans amongst the Warhammer YouTubers. Probably not surprising. But so I thought today we'd talk about Demons of Chaos and the High Elves. And so what we're going to do is we'll start with demons, go around the horn. Each of us can have a thing that we think makes people hate demons, or that you, in playing the army, myself and Randy, we both play the army. I know, Tom, you haven't, but a thing you hate because you have played against it. And whether or not you think that's deserved, should it be fixed? Is it just people being perhaps, a grass is greener syndrome, etc.? And then after that, we'll do some high elves. Randy, you are the special guest, so as always, sir, start us off. What do you think? What do you think is the hate that gets really heaped on demons? What is the one thing you pick that causes it?
Okay, I'm not gonna even say Reign of Chaos, because we know that's everybody and anybody is going to say the Reign of Chaos table in itself. What everybody is going to hate with demons is going to end up being their ward save. A ward save across the army. I've gotten into this discussion with other people, and I've made the case when I bust out my Mono Slanesh army with 2 Soul Grinders, a Keeper, the Chariots, and I'll be like, this is fluffy. And I will have people that will look me right in the face and be like, 5+ ward across the army, dude. You can get the hell out of here with that fluffy crap. And I'm not going to lie, I completely get it. I mean, moving to Orcs and Goblins, my demons, you save 1 out of 3 guys, and now I just basically pull it off. So I'm just picking guys, and here we go off the table. So I would say the 5 of ward save is the one thing, not Reign of Chaos, because that's just too obvious, that everybody hates.
All right, I like it. And so you're saying you can empathize with that position, right? You can understand why they think that.
The more I play the game, I swear to God, and I won't ever talk about politics ever again on a YouTube thing, but I swear to God that Warhammer is like politics. The more and older I get, the more I start leaning one direction or the other, and then I feel like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So I started here, and now I'm way over here with what I thought about demons. I'm like, yeah, they're busted. I'm putting them on the shelf. People just don't like. I mean, you can see the absolute look of disgust on somebody's face when they slam into your unit and they pick up a bunch of dice and you roll out of the box with a 5-up ward save. Heaven forbid you get the 4-up ward save. It's dejecting. It's just, and it's not fun for your opponent's not having any fun, and that's not what it's always about. But it's just, and it sucks.
Now, do you think that basically people don't hate, like, obviously the other army that comes to mind when you talk about ward saves across the board, to me, is another army I think you have some experience with, which is Bretonnians. It's constant 6-up, but it can often be 5-up depending on who you're fighting. Now, do you feel they just get to dodge that ward save across the board hate because A, they can lose it, and B, you have to play Bretonnians to get it, and that is its own built-in penalty?
I will say this, that the people that bag on and say that armies are inferior to another one have never bumped into a great Bretonnian player. And there are a couple of YouTubers out there, Once Bitten does really well with his Bretonnians. He has a great grasp of it. Bretonnians are a general's army. And I won a one-day tournament with Bretonnians, and it really is, you can't push it forward, but you can't hold back. You kind of have to see what's going on, and then hope you roll well. Because, and I learned the hard way with Bretonnians, like I'm learning with Orcs and Goblins, which was you can't have a lance into something, but 3 lances make something go away. So they're the ultimate, this has got to go away. My whole army has to commit to this, has got to go. But Bretonnians against demons, okay, demons win. I mean, they just win. There's no other way around it. I mean, Bretonnians might have a couple tricks up their sleeve, but they don't have enough tricks up their sleeve.
Yeah, one of their worst matchups, truly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Tom, what do you hate? As somebody who sits on the other side of the table, what's your hatred whenever I get out the demons or you play a demon?
I'm gonna bitch about the same thing that so many other people bitch about, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's not fair. Oh, it's so minor. Oh, it's positioning." Caco bomb. Okay. And here's why. And here's why I'm going to bitch about it. Is that I actually think my frustration... like, I fully understand that you can, like, out-tactics your way to avoid it. I totally get that. But here's my critique of Caco bomb.
Okay.
Is that there are no other spells that I can think of, at least, that I've looked through with all the spell lists, that are hexes that cause wounds.
Well, there's another hex in the Slaanesh thing that causes wounds too.
Sure, yeah, you're not helping your case. And so...
Hysterical frenzy causes, it's an augment or a hex that causes wounds.
You're right. You're absolutely right. But this goes back to, this is a non-discerning... So, like, I played Dark Age of Camelot years and years ago. It's an MMO. And it had an attack that was a PBAOE. And it was an area effect nuke that was super powerful, that was centered on a certain character, and it would extend outwards. And this is the effect of that, because none of your own units get hit by it. You can use it in combat, and it actually causes wounds in addition to all the other debilitating effects that it's basically just duplicating acquiescence. And so, like, again, it's the combination of breaking a couple different rules that I think are all the frustrating aspect about it. So that's what my critique would be. So, for example, that yeah, I'm not going to go on. You get the idea.
Sure.
No, I want to hear the rest of this, because Jeff and I both play Slaanesh Demons, and Jeff took it to Masters, and we had a tournament here, a local one day, where a guy basically, and he was semi-right, semi-wrong, but he picked apart the Swedish comp of the Slaanesh army, because if you go true Slaanesh, you're comping so high. And he kept bringing up Cackle Bob, and we listened for quite a while to the gripe about it, and then we proceeded to just name off 7 spells that are worse than Cackle Bomb. Because Slaanesh, to me, a mono Slaanesh army is super easy to beat. Very, very easy to beat. There's a couple armies that just give Slaanesh fits. Dwellers is horrible. Final Trans is horrible. Dread 13th is horrible. Pit, horrible. And those take off like all your infantry models. Cackle Bomb, 2d6. On a 4-up, you take a wound, then you random move. The random movement part is the part that I'm sure everybody hates the most.
Well, it's all the units within 12 inches, which is a 24-inch spread.
But in order to get Cackle Bomb, what are you most likely doing?
I mean, you're throwing 6 dice at it.
Right, and you're hoping to irresistible it. And then once you irresistible it, your 650-point model may or may not go away right after that. So it's... And as a Slaanesh player, I will tell you this. When I first picked up Slaanesh, I used to be the guy that did that. I would run 20 inches, Cackle Bomb, haha, suck it. Either I got it or I didn't, and it is what it is. The good Slaanesh players, what they're going to do is they're going to single cack you. They're going to acquiescence you. They're going to play the movement game with you and take and pick the fights that they're supposed to. The people that beat Slaanesh, no problem, are ones that know that Cackle Bomb is... It's like, I know Dwellers is in if you're running life, I know you have Dwellers. Why would I deploy 24 inches in front of you? I'm asking to get Dweller. It's the same thing with the people that start running their armies and go, well, I move my stuff forward. A keeper moves 20, right? Yeah. Well, why'd you come forward then? You came to me. You're asking me to do this. It's the guy that puts all of his units around a keeper or gives you the gap to shoot through, and then goes, you're such a luck monster. You got no skill. You just 6 dice Cackle Bomb. Okay, sure. Yes, I did do it to you, but you gave me the opportunity. You're asking me to do it, so okay. It's like the ogre player complaining about Pit of Shades going through a Purple Sun going through their lines. Dude, why did you give me the Purple Sun? Why did you give it to me? There's ways to mitigate it, but I understand the complaint though, because I've been Cackle Bombed with Orcs and Goblins, and I absolutely cringe when they say the words. So.
Well, it's especially debilitating to a particular kind of army too, right? Like the more sort of small, potent, individualized things you have on the board that can suddenly just get eliminated by the spell. If you got a big block, what always amuses me is when I watch people use the spell and forget that they just gave random movement to something that can then like pivot on the spot and walk directly sideways into them or something like that. That's always, especially if virtual pivots are allowed, so you don't have to necessarily worry about clearing the space. That's always humorous, because you got to, yes, it's certainly a debilitating spell, and it's certainly one of the best in the game.
Yeah, I completely hit it. Cackle Bomb is the new gateway. I mean, People hate Kakabon like they used to hate Gateway. It's horrible. Don't get me wrong. It's horrible. The only and I will agree that it's what makes Slanesh good because Demonettes really aren't good. Their chariots suck. Fiends are meh. What's good if you run mono Slanesh? What are you afraid of? Well, there should be two things you're afraid of in a mono Slanesh army. One's the Keeper, and the second one's the Herald on the chariot. Those are the two things you should fear. Other than that, nothing.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. It goes back to your word save thing. If you have like a big bus of, I like running my Daemonettes in big buses of 50, which is something that once you push into something, there's never going to escape ever. Like they're going to hold that thing for the game, which is fine. That's what I use them for. I had that same player ended up driving into my Daemonettes with both steam tanks that he had, and I laughed. I was like, yeah, that's fine. Those will never leave now, so those are done for the rest of the game. Cool. And that's what they do well. But in the end, I agree. Like you're kind of, it's not no other individual component of Slanesh is that impressive, right? You don't look at any other thing they've got and go, man, that's good. You go, all right, that's cool. That's neat. Good movement, good initiative. It's decent.
It's okay, Tom. I'm gonna my thing for the next army that we hate. When I hate on it, you can flip the script on me and tell me what an idiot I am and how easy this could be. I'm not gonna hate.
Well, don't worry. It'll be his chance next when we complain about high elves.
Yeah.
All right. So my thing, I think people hate. I will go ahead and pick it since you declined, but we cannot escape the haters gonna hate segment without talking about the Reign of Chaos table. The hatred for this, you mentioned Lord T. Any video where he has to fight somebody using the Reign of Chaos table, he will generally have at least a 2 to 3 minute rant scattered within the video about it and how it ruined a thing, and you can't do anything about it. It just happens.
It just happens. It's before the magic phase.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that this to me is one of those things that is, I will say this to me is one of those things that the grass is greener. Because as somebody who plays demons, I honestly often hate generating my magic dice, right? Like that when that table roll happens, my ass clenches so tight at that moment I could forge a diamond like Superman in Superman 3, you know what I mean? Just like I could take a piece of coal and just make a diamond, because that like if there are multiple rolls here that are like, if these happen, I am really going to be in a bad way. You roll that -1 ward save thing on the round you're about to go into combat, and it's like, well, great, now I get to lose all my stuff. That should be fun. Because I mean, yes, it's only a difference of one thing. It's 6 up to 5 up, but 6 up to 5 up is a huge statistical difference in the number of resultant ward saves. And when you start bleeding troops out that you should have never lost because of that, or when you just make a leadership test and kill one of your very expensive, characters because they happen to blow it by a pretty large number, that's not great. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like losing several 100-point models on one bad die roll, and that's easily something that can happen. It's happened to me, of course. So I think that, yes, I think people overstate the positive results of it. Sure, sometimes you're going to get... There is no more fun thing I love than genning out the Khorne's Wrath on Mono Slanesh when he throws a fireball at each of my units, too, because each of those things scatter like 3d6 inches. So I say, hell yeah, let's just get fireballs raining down all over the board. That's a good time. But when you play demons, especially if you're playing a fluffier demon list, if you're not playing a tough as nails demon list, if you're already fairly fluffy, which there are plenty of fluffy demon lists out there, and then you roll into a bad thing, you're like, oh, well, yeah. And it's going to happen at least once a game, maybe more, probably more. Like, statistically, 6 magic phases, one of them will be one of them kicking you in the nuts. So, that would be my thing. But what we want to know is what you think. So, what do you hate about the demons? What do you think about what we said? Is it fair? What people say about them? Have you played them before? Do you like playing them? Hate playing them? Comment below. All right. With the demons out of the way, it's time to move on to our second oft-hated army. Oh, a source of another source of much, shall we say, bile on the internet. Uh, the heroes of Ulthuan, they're the High Elves. So, Randy, once again, start us off. What do you think people hate about the High Elves, and is it fair?
Well, people shouldn't hate the High Elves. I'm gonna tell you why. They suck. They're like the horrible stepchildren of Dark Elves. But I'm just kidding.
Immediately, the hate mail is flowing in the show.
Immediately, I think I just got a ping. What did this idiot just say? I'm gonna combine mine into two things because not only do I hate High Elves for it, I hate Warhammer for this sometimes, and I'm guilty of it now as an Orc and Goblin player just because of the meta. I hate. Actually, I guess it's three things. The special character Death Star with the Banner of the World Dragon. That has got to be the stupidest effing thing, the most unfun thing to play against ever. And I'm a Slaanesh player who can acquiescence that unit all game and beat you by 100 points by killing all the other crap that you put in your army that just sucks because you have to do it. It's unfun. It's just unfun. And we have a local gamer who runs that as his fun list. Like, that's what he brings to fun. Dude, I ain't got time for that. Like, bro, it's a Thursday night. I worked freaking 12 hours in the OR. I got no time for you, man. I need you to take that bullshit. I need you to pack it all up, take a sledgehammer to it, and proxy something enjoyable. Because I'll be fair here. I hate that about all armies. I hate when I see the Empire Light Council list that does it. When they tower things up. I hate that my Orc and Goblins can do it. I hate it. I hate Dark Elves when they do it with Crone and the Witch Elves and all of it. Oh, it's just, or the Brolock bust with all the characters on it. It sucks. Spread your shit out. Stop being such a wimp.
Now, does he, when he's playing Fluffy, does he just put all the characters and the banner into like a White Lion unit instead of a Silver Helm unit to go for the softer list?
Oh yeah. It's in a Phoenix Guard or White Lions or something. Spearman once for Swedish comp, and it comps really good under Swedish. It does.
Yeah.
But I see that a lot though with a lot of the high elf players, and this is coming from a demon player because when you're playing demons, you want to roll dice, and all that the Banner of the World Dragon does against two armies pretty much, and a lot of others, it just says, you know what, I'm gonna roll dice. You can roll dice, and it's cute, and it's fun that you want to try to roll dice, but no, you can't. No, I don't think I'm going to let you do that. And the only demon army that can deal with that stupid banner is Slaanesh. The other demon players basically have to somehow avoid it, and they're elves. How do you avoid elves? If you're the Nurgle player, if you're the Tzeentch player, if you're the Khorne guy, you're running up, okay, thank you. They have another series.
No, it's the Khorne guy I feel really bad for. That guy's already getting kicked in the teeth enough, and now he's got to have that going on too.
Exactly, right? So go ahead and tell me how stupid I am. Go ahead.
Well, you were the one that pulled out the tactics battlefield awareness statement on me for Caco Bomb, and so the answer is stay away from that one unit.
No, I agree, but my question is how do you stay away from 50 White Lions with all the characters bunkered in, shooting magic missiles and bomb spells on you as they just angle their way into you? And in all honesty, how do you? Because there's ways to avoid it. You keep your good points and chap it up all game, but in reality, tell me how you avoid that garbage. Go.
I mean, what I would say is it's only one unit.
Yeah.
You hopefully you have a magic solution, and what I mean by that is not wounding that unit, because you're not going to touch that unit, but that there are enough other magic solutions that can hinder it, like for example in the Slaanesh hex, the various hexes, and I think the name of the game in that instance is avoidance. Like I think, and again, if you are playing if you are playing an army that is all magical attacks, you're foobarred against that unit. There's not a good, it's a bad matchup for you. And sometimes there are just bad matchups for armies.
Yeah, I agree. There's a way for demon players to beat the high elf list, but it's complicated.
Yeah.
I think that, I was watching I think Doom and Darkness, I think it was him. He had a tournament recap recently where he went through like a whole tournament, and there was a demon player who had like won the previous year's tournament or had ranked very highly or something, and he ran up against like 2 or 3 high elf lists. He played like all the high elf players in the tournament, just complete random chance, and every one of them had a banner star, and every time it ended, both or all 3 of the games, I don't remember exactly, it ended with every other unit the high elf player had dead, and that banner unit just in this like 12-inch ring sort of like standoff of like all the demons just like facing. Doing this? What's going on? And it just then came in.
No,
and credit to that guy for being a great player.
No, that's what I learned down here. And in our meta, it became you had to take the Tzeentch Heralds because you needed metal magic to get final trans to just final trans bomb the bunker unit, and that's all you're trying to do every turn. 6 dice it, acquiescence, 6 dice, final trans, 6 dice. And I don't know many people that think that there are guys that love that game, but that again to the luck versus skill thing that everybody talks about. It's purely luck. Did I get my 6 dice spell off? Did I roll enough 5s and 6s?
I think that there are things in every army that other armies don't have answers for or don't have good answers for.
Sure.
And so, like, I'm partial, but on the other hand, like, I also see what that looks like when, a well-placed unit crashing into my banner star could absolutely obliterate the Banner of the World Dragon in a single round. Now, obviously, that doesn't work as well when all of your attacks are magical attacks. But for other types of games, that is not as much of an issue. So, because if a battle standard bearer is carrying, I mean, again, it depends on what types of units they're in. Because if somebody puts a World Dragon banner in a silver helm bus, that's not as big of a deal. Because there's no other protections on that battle standard bearer. But if they're putting it on a Phoenix Guard, on a White Lion, anywhere where you can put that banner on the actual unit standard bearer itself, that becomes a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were to critique anything, that's what I would critique, is them being able to put the Banner of the World Dragon on non-characters.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the complaint you're going to get from most players. That's universal. I mean, I don't know many people that go, a unit standard carrying the Banner of the World Dragon, that's a good idea. I mean, if it was a 50-point magic item, a magic banner, people would be like, okay, the BSB's got to carry it, snipe out the BSB, and you're good to go. But I agree with you. I mean, it's really not the biggest deal, and I think it was a huge deal. It's like everything else in Warhammer. Somebody brings it, and they crush people's hopes and dreams, and you're just like, this effing guy. And then you see all these high elf players, right? The next tournament, and I don't know how many tournaments you guys go to, but you'll see like the run of like 9 or 10 high elf players, and you'll be like, how'd the high elf players do? Not very good, because everybody brought a list to deal with Banner of the World Dragon. Everybody knows how to deal with it, and then they suck. And then the Dark Elf Codex comes out, and everybody's like, what do the Brolocks do? And then here comes this ridiculousness. And then how do you beat it? Everybody, the Warriors down south, nobody plays Warriors. Not really. I mean, there's a couple guys that still stick with it, but the elves just tear them up. I mean, tear them up. Yeah. So I don't know. It's just a meta thing, and as we've been traveling as a club to different regions, we've been seeing the meta change. It's interesting to see what everybody else plays.
All right, Tom. So now critique your own army. What do you think people hate about your army, and is it fair for them to hate it?
For strike. I mean, on one hand, it makes the army, because they're all a bunch of weak-ass elves, high-priced. If I were to crash anything into a high elf unit that doesn't have first strike, as an Orc and Goblin, I am unconcerned. but it's the losses that I'm taking before I even get to hit back that actually make them problematic. And so I think that's the biggest problem. I don't know what a good solution to that is, obviously, other than not get in combat with them.
Now, is it fair that people hate ASF across the board on the... Obviously, this is an elf in general thing, but let's restrict it to high elves for the moment and how it works in an army. Is it a fair critique?
I mean, yes and no. If you have a good solution to it, then it's not a problem. If you just have bodies to throw at elves, first striking elves, or always strike first elves, it's going to be a problem. Like if you're not able to take the hits from them, especially if they're re-rolling, basically always hitting. Again, that's been my experience playing other armies against elves. Is that it's the always strikes first is a kick in the nuts for playing against other armies.
All right. That's fair. I think I think certainly a lot of people don't like it. I'm not sure how much it's wrapped up in there and how much it's just the little pieces of ASF there to get it, like using the two-handed weapon on your initiative or whatever, the way rerolls work. I think it's probably more little components of it. I think on the whole, I don't care. It's fine. I don't, for the most part, like, Elven Spearmen, knock yourself out. Like, you're welcome to that. That Lothern Sea Guard can ASF all day long. They're still going to die in bucket loads once my turn comes with whatever I happen to be swinging at them with. Like a wet sock hitting their flank is going to probably result in 5 or 6 dead elves. Those guys they're very fragile.
They
are. So here's my pick. What I love to hate in the army is that freaking bird. That stupid ice bird.
Giant eagles?
Yeah, no, not your giant eagles and not the flame phoenix either. That stupid ice bird. God's almighty, I hate that thing. Just between its giving you always strikes last and sapping your strength and being very high toughness and having like some kind of armor and some kind of ward save that can often get better and just being a big that bird should have some kind of special rule that it can't thunderstomp. Let me just say that. Have you seen its feet? They're little tiny things. What is it thunderstomping with? That's silly.
It's wings. It's
apparently. It's thunder wing beating. Then how is it flying at that moment? Then it's on the ground, and we can just stab it and throw a rope around it, and I don't know, something, tie it down. I hate that bird. I hate all his special rules. I hate the way he can just pin a unit on his own. He is sort of a singular. There's not many monsters that are as really good as him. Now, he might not be like a wrecking ball. There's some other monsters that have some of the similar toughness that are wrecking balls. But I don't mind glass cannon monsters like Kadai Destroyers or something. Kadai, calling him a glass cannon may be a bit of an overstatement, but he's dealable.
I was like, what?
He is able to be dealt with. And the reality is, if you've got a character that's 2-up, any standard flaming magic item, they're going to be okay for some time to go pin the destroyer until you can get something in place to handle the thing, right? But that dumb bird, and then the fact that he also flies, right? Just on top of all this, of course he flies, he's a bird, but just like his ability to just like fly around the board and inconvenience me and pin things, it should be like, bam, now you suck. He's like a flying blue bomb of making your units crappy. And he just sweeps around and waits to just, bam, hit a unit with the crap stick. And so I hate that bird. And I will openly say it's not fair that I hate that bird. I think he is probably an integral tool in the High Elf toolbox, and he's a beautiful fig, and perfectly, honestly, really fair.
We're still going, baby. Compliments.
We could still hear that completely clearly. Like it was like your mic was right near your face. Zero difference.
What happened? You can hear
when you lifted your mic up, completely clear. Like no difference. Your mic is far too high quality. It did not sound any more quiet.
Yeah, it's supposed to mute when I do this. It's supposed to actually mute when I do that. That's no bueno.
There is literally zero difference in the sound between that thing sitting here and here. Yeah.
But that's pretty epic. My wife looked at me with a beer in her hand, and I was like, yeah, a couple more minutes. So yeah,
Topping you off with a refill. Nice.
well, there are perks to being married. One, is beer. The cons might be I don't get to Warhammer as much as I'd like to, but the pros are beer.
It's a good pro. There are other pros I can think of I might rate higher than that.
Well, beer is a good pro. It depends how long you've been married.
I've been married for 12 years.
Holy moly! Yeah, beer is a good pro.
I think obviously, as you've admitted, Vince, your hatred of the Frost Phoenixes is unreasonable.
It's unreasonable or reasonable?
It's unreasonable.
Unreasonable.
Because again, like everything else, there are good. It's not really killy. It's only killy against certain types of units. It has a ward save that goes to 6 up occasionally. So it's not like it's run around with a 4 up permanently. I don't know. I mean, it is aggressively priced. I'll say that.
Yeah, sure. It is very aggressively priced. But like I said, I don't. To me, I admit I have an unreasonable hate of it. It feels like the good thing in your army. When I look across most armies, I see that thing and I go, that's their really good thing. That one thing I can put my finger on and go, that's really good. And most armies have those. I think the Gorgon wants to have a talk about points cost in the rare monster section. It's probably fair.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
I'm surprised nobody said the skull chariot for demons was their hated thing.
That's because I love the giant phallus cannon. Who can hate the phallus cannon? Come on now. Driving around the board, just giving people the business. What a great thing that is. I see no issues. Totally fair. But yeah, I'm sure people hate that. So to go to the real quick here in our last couple minutes, just to talk about some comments on the vid. So earlier, it was mentioned that Paul K said Beast of Nurgle, gave him the middle finger there. That is all. That's his hated thing. I think that's fair. Most people don't like Beast of Nurgle. They are perhaps a bit too good, as long as a bit is defined as in sort of cosmic terms, as in it's a bit of space between myself and Texas compared to the distance between me and the sun. That's a bit. So they're a bit good. And Skip said, is it just the broken magic items? Or he also pointed out, is there special characters that people hate in the High Elf thing? And
love all of them.
Yeah, I can certainly get some hate on for Aloriel. I can make that happen, especially the new one. I can hate her toughest elf ever self. I got no issue with that. And then and then Skeleton Flower made a really good point. He said that for anybody who, yes, there are some busted choices like beasts and a few other things, but if you played against demons in 7th edition, we should all be counting our lucky stars that they got that much more balanced, because the 7th demons book was just ridiculously unbalanced by comparison, which is certainly true. So it's getting better, where they're going to eventually find a way to make the demons nice and perfect. Oh, see, we lost Randy right at the end. There you go.
Yep.
We'll see if he comes back here in the next 1 minute. But all in all, I think that's exactly right. So our what's our final sum up on the haters gonna hate?
Every army has really good elements. Some even perceived to be broken, arguably. But the reality is that a lot of it can be mitigated by playing better.
Or by really thinking about it, yeah, perceiving it as a tactical challenge. And moreover, I would say it can be mitigated, and that's, I think, going to be one of the... There are some things, I think, with the haters going to hate we're going to come to and go, that's just not solvable. That legitimately is a problem. Those things exist in the game. We know they're there.
Yeah, like demons staring down a Banner of the World Dragon is a problem for them. There's just no way for them realistically to get around it.
Yeah, you're not going to get those points.
No.
Assuming you don't have Blight Kings in your army or some nonsense. A true pure demon list. But I think that if you approach it with a positive attitude and try to challenge yourself and think about it tactically, you can turn that frown upside down. There you go. All right. That's a nice positive message to end the show on. And yes, Randy just confirmed that his internet died there at the end. So his internet must have knew that it was 9 o'clock and hence time for the show to come to an end. So I think with that, we will call it. Thank you, Randy, very much. The demonic orchard himself, Lone Hammer, for that. Everybody should check out Randy's podcast. It's under Lone Hammer 2014, the Lone Hammer podcast. Hey, there he is. He's back. He can sign off and do his own. Welcome back, Randy.
Maybe
he's back. Are you there? This is going to be an exciting end of the show. I really think this is going to be a real winner here in the last couple minutes.
Maybe we'll have to cover the conversion contest that we did this last week, Vince.
You mean when you're a Goblin Doom Diver and you won. Congratulations with your Doom Diver conversion. I will be completely positive about this. Second place went to a 40k conversion made from the Storm Fiend kit. And I don't know why you can't hear anything. Can you talk? Can we hear you? Oh, there you went. And then third place went to my Cetra on a Chimera War Sphinx. Yes. I'll post a link to the contest so that everybody can see. They could take a look. Can you hear us now?
Welcome back, Randy. Anything?
I think his headphones died, is what I'm suspecting happened here.
Maybe.
Probably so. All right, well, with that, we will call it, and we will say thank you all for watching. As I said, check out Randy's podcast, Lone Hammer. Look it up. It's awesome. It's the Sometimes Daily podcast, presenting you with all your best topics about Warhammer. Tom, any final thoughts?
No. Keep rolling those dice.
There you go. And as always, see you next Wednesday.